All right. Hey, there's Caesar. Hi, Caesar. How are you?
What's up, fellas? I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Right here, chilling.
All right. All right. Well, we got Kenny right there. Caesar, I wanted you to meet Kenny Heuer. Um, now, Kenny, I
How's it
always.
going, Kenny?
How you doing, brother? How you doing?
All
I'm
right.
good. Thank you very much. Nice to have a MMA guy on here.
Oh, there we go.
I got an MMA background, so I'm very familiar with a lot of the what you're familiar with, a lot of the people you're familiar with. I'm sure
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, boxing's huge. Huge part of MMA.
it is now. It didn't used to be. It didn't used to be.
Right. Right. Right.
Are,
Well,
are
real
we
quick
already
here.
on live?
Yeah, we are.
Are we on live?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Go
You
ahead, bro.
came
Go ahead, brother.
right on time. Well, real quick, right away, we already got Eddie Rodriguez Sr. Welcome aboard. Martin Zunica, one of our coaches. Welcome aboard, sir. I'm sure he's with Chapita. Hi, Chapita. Nicole Anderson. Welcome aboard. Bob. So we're already getting hit. So real quick right now, today we have Kenny the Shark Heuer on, and Kenny works with the UFC. And as we go around, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask everybody what they've been up to this week, and then we're going to stop at Kenny, and then we're going to talk to Kenny a little while and let him answer all of our questions and some of your questions out there in that's on our chats and on our platforms. So let's start off with Omar. Omar, how you been? How has your week went or your weekend went?
It's good weekend. Today was Sunday bum day, just grilling out, watching the games. Nothing too crazy. Just a nice relaxing day with the family. That's it.
Nice, nice. And Brittany, how's your weekend been? I know
Oh
probably.
man, it's been a crazy week for me actually. I took last week off from Brawlin' Babes with Brittany to play catch up, and then it kind of just snowballed into this week too. I had two interviews scheduled, but they ended up needing to reschedule anyway, which worked for me. I had family emergencies that popped up and really just kind of overwhelmed us. But then it was a great weekend, man. A great weekend of fights. A huge weekend for women in combat sports. So we had the all-female boxing card out in the UK. Then in the world of bare knuckle, there has never been sanctioned bare knuckle women's bouts in England. There was actually two this weekend. Miranda Barber and Josette Cotton. There was a super welterweight title on that, so congratulations to Josette Cotton. And then Jamie Driver and Sonia Drelling. So that was an amazing weekend for bare knuckle female combat sports. I was able to watch all of those fights. And then the BKFC came out here to Denver, so I was able to attend those fights. Local fighter here, Courtney Cameron, made her pro debut and bare knuckle debut and won against Crystal Pittman. An amazing women's fight again. Just an amazing weekend altogether for combat sports, man. It was an awesome weekend. I enjoyed it all. Had to go back to work today, so I was a little tired, a little hungover, not gonna lie, but I'm here and I'm rocking and rolling and ready for what the week has in store.
Well, good for you, girl. And hope I hope everything's working out at home. We know how those issues are, and we know how they arise. So hang in
It
there, keep
happens,
kicking
man. It
butt.
happens.
And I know it was an awesome weekend for you for the fights. I know that for a fact. Good for you, Caesar. How have you been, brother? How's things going with you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Just been real busy. I know I kind of missed your calls a couple times and been crazy work. I'm a realtor by trade. That's what I do. That's my bread and butter. So if anybody out there wants to buy or sell a house, give me a call. It's a good time to buy investment property. But anyways, other than that, I mean, just relax, watch some baseball. I see Omar there, and I with his jersey on. What's funny is that I play on the Padres on my adult league, so I was wearing a Padres jersey today, but I'm not a Padres fan. But I'm not mad at the Padres. I'm actually kind of happy because maybe they'll get rid of Dave Roberts now. I'm one of those guys. So hopefully that's the straw that breaks that camel's back. And then my personal baseball team on my adult league, we got eliminated today too. So it was one of those weekends. But other than that, it was good. Saw a little bit of fights, and I look forward to being on the show. And honestly, A couple things actually. I look forward to being on the show today to speak with Kenny because, like I said, I'm huge MMA. I have a lot of friends that are back in the TFA days and before that in Redondo Beach with Todd Meacham back then, and I'm sure you're going to know a lot of those guys. So I'm looking forward to conversation. And one more thing I did want to mention, there was a tryout at 10 Goose Boxing Gym last week, and I guess Ricky Funes, who's very close with the PBC, and a lot of people know 10 Goose Boxing as like Floyd Mayweather's gym when he comes to LA, and a lot of famous people actually train at his gym. Well, they did a tryout. They did an open tryout for boxers, or not boxers only, professional fighters, because they're going to start a thing called, you guys can look them up. It's called the Team Combat League, and they're gonna get like teams, and they're gonna base them out of like one out of LA, one out of Las Vegas, one out of Texas. They're gonna have like franchises, and they're gonna have 1 round fights. 1 round fights. It's boxing, but it's gonna be 1 round, and there's going to be some money involved as well and televised and stuff. So they're putting it together. One of my guys tried out and did well. Hopefully he makes it. And I look forward to it. Let's see how it is. Something different, I was at the tryouts, and man, when these kids know that they got to fight for 1 round, it completely changes everything. These kids they're scrapping. It's fun.
Oh,
It's fun to watch. I'm looking forward to that.
I bet that turns into a dogfight.
Yeah,
That
Team
sounds
Combat League.
really
You guys can look it up
interesting.
on Instagram. Team Combat League.
Yeah, I'll look that up. That sounds
All right,
fun.
real quick, right before we get to Kenny, got a shout out to Carl John, Locust Sports, Padres, not Padres. Also, they 1 round. Yeah, that's what I'm saying there, Rocus. 1 round. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like what Caesar says. It sounds like 1 round, baby.
And
You
there was
got
there
one
was some
shot.
top guys there too. There was some
No,
top
right on.
guys there too. So there's gonna be some names doing this. It doesn't go on the record, and the money's good, so it's pretty enticing.
Wow, that's great. Well, I've been really excited, been anxious to get Kenny Heuer, Kenny the Shark Heuer, on our show. Actually, I've been wanting to get him on even our past shows. Kenny and I go back since about 2015, 2016. He's a man after my own heart. He's an entrepreneur. He owns a commercial tint company right there in Vegas. I believe you're originally from Orange County, aren't you, Kenny?
Yeah, I was born in Newport Beach and grew up in Huntington Beach with Tito Ortiz, Hank Abbott, Razor Rod McCullough, Tony Gonzalez, all the homies. We all became professional athletes at one point in our lives.
Yeah, and you also fought. You also fought as well, right, with them.
I didn't fight with them. I turned pro in 07. I fought in Auditorio de Tijuana for Cage of Fire. And I was in the process of interviewing for the Ultimate Fighter reality show. So I was actually trying to fight for the UFC. And then I had my pro debut and got in a car accident after that. Suffered 3 herniated discs in my spine. And by the time I rehabilitated, I was 36 and too old for MMA, start your career. So, and circle back, 12 years later, I get a phone call asking if I wanted to work for the greatest MMA company in the world, the UFC, and I jumped on it. So,
Wow, that's incredible. I remember when I went out to hang out with you. I was pushing for You Pick the Champ, which was a boxing app that we were really getting ready. We were starting to get momentum, and we were going to work together with that app. And then DAZN came out. When DAZN came out, I had to pull the plug on that for the time being. And the time being now has been about 6 years, unfortunately. But we do plan on coming out with something again. I think that's going to work. But back then, I went out and visited you, and we cruised around. I cruised around with you, and while you were busy with your client, you introduced me to a lot of people that you were working with, and you had that charisma, man. And you took me over to what was his name? The gym.
Randy
What
Couture.
was it? Randy
Randy Couture.
Couture's gym. That's right. Yeah, that was sure something to see back in the day. I wasn't too much of an MMA guy. I mean, I watched the mixed martial arts, and I got more into that after you and I did those rounds, man.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, later on, you got that call from the UFC. Did you get that call directly from Dana White or from his people?
No, actually, I got a call from my boss, Alex, and he's the global Octagon director. Basically, he like designs stages. He's like a master of the octagon, the cage, the fences, I mean everything. Like the guy is just brilliant, and we're coming out with new octagons here. We've been slowly releasing them out to the world, but we're putting them together. They're new designs, and also like LED walkways is something new that we introduced to the world. Probably about 6 months ago now, and it's just really taken off.
Wow. Now, whose idea was that to come out with the new Octagon?
Well, Alex, my boss, he's been in works designing and innovating new areas with the cage to improve it for the fighters and everything. Like I said, the guy just a whiz. And, we build the octagons, and then we work the event, and then we tear them down and load them up on the semis on the road and everything. This man walk up on it and say, hey, that bolts backwards, and it's like, whoa, like how do you the guy's just incredible. He sees everything. He knows that octagon inside and out, and it's just insane.
So
Sounds like
when you
he's
say
a bolt.
there's design changes, I mean, it's an octagon. How differently can you design an octagon? What kind of changes are we looking at seeing?
Aluminum. Uh, you guys really wouldn't see it other than the visuals of the walkway, the outer walkway. Um, but just the internals and everything like that. There's a lot of less pieces to the puzzle. It's stronger because it's aluminum and it's lightweight. Just a lot of things like that you would normally see. And then we use the 25-foot octagon in the Apex at UFC headquarters in Las Vegas, and then we use the 30-foot octagon when we're on the road and at the arenas and out of the country and whatnot.
So
Wow. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask him if more other than working for the UFC right now. I mean, how else are you involved in the fight game? And do you run a gym? Do you own a gym? Do you work out at a gym? Or
Well, I have a 4th-degree black belt in judo. So I work with a lot of people like on the side. I train like Metro and law enforcement and whatnot, like on the side, like just away from the scene. But because I'm a employee of the UFC, I can't really work with the fighters directly. I can't with them. I got asked by a couple friends to help them train for upcoming fights. I couldn't do it. Um, we're not allowed to like bet on MMA, stuff like that. We're not allowed to give our opinions on who we think's going to win or whatever. They have a lot of really strict rules and contracts that we have to sign as Zuffa employees, UFC employees. Yeah, they're strict on all of that.
Wow.
Interesting.
So let me ask you this, Kenny. You travel you travel abroad too, overseas as well when the UFC goes overseas?
I did the first time. I just got back from Paris, France.
Wow.
That was awesome, incredible experience. And then in January, I'm supposed to go to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Right on.
Nice. And who's gonna fight on that card in the Rio de Janeiro?
I don't know. I get a lot of questions asked, like who's fighting, who's the main event. We work so many fights. I also worked Fight Contender Series. I worked the Fighter Show, reality show, as an Octagon associate. So it's very, very hard to keep up with who's cards and stuff. And then sometimes fights drop off. They COVID protocols, they're really really strict. I mean, the big show is really impressive. I cornered a guy at Fury fights in Texas, and going from that experience back to like the UFC, man, it's day and night, day and night.
Wow,
awesome.
I'm sure they all are. Brittany, you probably have a lot of experience because you go through all of the different types of things. You go from the octagons to the rings to from the square circle to the actual round rings with the BFK, right? Or BFC, what is it called? Bare knuckle,
BKFC.
uh,
So I
BKFC.
when it comes to ring announcing, no, I only do boxing for now. I would love to get into the other sports, of course. But I mean, I'm a I'm a longtime fan and fanatic of all combat sports. I just love violence and love the controlled, beautiful dance of it all. But yeah, witnessing, the behind the scenes inner workings of it all. I mean, has there ever been a specific fight for you that stood out that you'll never forget refereeing? I mean, I know you see a lot of them, and you, like you said, you can't keep up with who's fighting on what card, but is there a one fight that you will never forget being involved with, and what is it and why?
Well, I don't referee. I'm one of the Octagon guys, so I open and close the cage door in between rounds. I keep an eye on the coaches, making sure they're
Okay.
following the rules. So I sit on the stairs, so I get to watch the fight on the stairs.
My
Which-
apologies. I thought Dave had told me in group chat that you were refereeing. My apologies. So
No,
that's even cooler though. So you get to see like up close and personal, but still, is there a fight for you that sticks out for, that you have worked? I still have the same question.
yeah,
But
yeah. There's so many, and everything happens so fast. But I would say like Weidman's snap.
Oh dang, that was
Yeah,
recent, huh? That was like
I
last
heard,
year.
I heard that you could actually hear the snap, and then if you're ringside, right? Have a
yeah,
couple of friends that were at that fight, and they said they could literally hear the snap.
correct. Correct. And then you see it visually because I have to keep my eye on the fighters, because the second the round is over, or the second the fight's called, I have to open up that octagon door as fast as possible in order for the doctors and mission to get there to make sure the fighter's okay and whatnot. I was actually in the corner, and I witnessed it directly in my view. And I mean, it's
You,
you know.
you go way back though. You go way back, and I'm sure. And this is actually, and a lot of boxing people probably don't know, but that's actually a pretty common injury when it comes to kickboxers, isn't it?
Yeah, it can, it can happen. It's happened a couple times that I know of, UFC. I don't know about the other leagues or shows, but I mean, you
There
get
was
a
a,
person
there
that,
was a kid from the Ultimate Fighter, the Corey, the tall guy. He's like a 155 pounder that was like a 6 footer, and he broke it on TV2. I remember same way, and then of course Anderson. I mean, you're from the old school. You're from the old school. Tell us a little about the Huntington Beach days. I actually got to work out under Valdemiro Perez Jr. at the Ultimate Training Center. I think I saw you there before.
I haven't been there. I haven't trained. I'd love to train with Tito and stuff. I mean, I grew up with him kindergarten to 8th grade, and then I moved to Las Vegas, and I'd love to train with them and mess around with them a little bit, but never got the opportunity to yet. Maybe it's happening, I don't know. But I always love to spar. I love to train. I just love everything about the sport. And I see a lot of my old coaches, watching fighters out now, because they've aged out in the game, and a lot of fighters still that I used to train with. coming up trying to be a pro fighter in the UFC and stuff. So it's really cool. They give me the bro hugs or the fist bumps and stuff. So I'm still kind of a part of it, just not fighting. You know what I mean? So I get fulfilled that way as well. It's just a blessing.
What a beautiful passion, man. We talked
Yeah.
about that a while back.
There's only 4 of us. There's only 4 of
Wow.
us in the whole entire UFC. So I'm one of 4, and I was just supposed to be an extra, working like maybe 5 to 7 fights a year, and unfortunately, COVID hit, and they created a 4th position. So I'm the 4th guy on the crew now. So, it worked out really cool.
Congratulations to you, Kenny. Well deserved, man. When we hung out with each other in Vegas, we were talking about going to the money team, go to their gym, and we talked about all the gyms out there, and we're still going to make it out there. It's just going to be 7 years later that I'm going to go visit
All
you.
right.
But you have a company. It's called Eccentric Tint. You want to
Yep.
talk about that? This way, all our Vegas peeps and even our Colorado peeps could get wind of you.
Yeah. So I used to live in Thornton, and I had a location in Thornton for a year, and then I got divorced, moved back to Las Vegas. But I traveled back and forth from here to Colorado. I've done jobs in California, so I'll travel wherever the work is. You know what I mean? So I do commercial, residential, and automotive window tinting. Basically anything that has glass. I specialize in security tint. It's bullet, bomb, and burglar resistant films on the home.
Wow.
Home invasion increased 66% nationwide, and so now the home invasions are the thing to do. People are broke, they can't afford gas money, just everything. The list goes on. So they're throwing a rock through your sliding glass door. It's a tempered glass. They're in your house within 2 seconds. So it's protecting people and whatnot. So
Right, man.
Wait, so that's a thing? That's super cool. I didn't even know that was like a thing that you could put bulletproof,
Yeah.
Yeah.
tinted windows on my house. Wait, what? Yes, please. I'm gonna reach out to
Cool.
you.
Okay.
It should be standard if you think about it, right?
Well,
Yeah, you would think build my house with that.
well, the most vulnerable portion of the home is the glass, right? So everybody has cameras nowadays. Everybody has alarms, and that catches them. And police come out after you've been burglarized, right? And they fill out a report. You submit it to the insurance company, and then they still got in your home, so you're violating the point. So when I install the security tint, it keeps them out. The glass will break, but they can't get through the glass. So it also reduces your energy bills yearly by 44%. It filters out 99.9% of the UVA and B rays. And if you get the tinted security film, it blocks out 60%. So it's a well-rounded product.
Wow, that is awesome, man.
It's amazing you have the time after all those shows the UFC's having.
Yeah, but yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm part-time with the UFC. It's considered part-time. So I can arrange my schedule around my customers and my clients. I've been in business 29 going on 30 years, voted best sold. And so my son and I do all the installs too. So go out there and estimate and then send a crew out. It's my son and I doing all the work. So, it gives my customers a good feeling that, hey, the owner's coming out to do it. It's not sending some guys that are going to case my house or, not show up or do a horrible job.
Do you have a?
You gotta be handing out UFC tickets as referral fees, right? Like bam, bam. Just saying, whatever works.
They reach out. Trust me, man. There's a lot. There's a lot of friends I never even knew I had.
Yeah, they come out of the woodwork, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
Yeah. Well, now you're based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, or is it Henderson, or where are you?
Nevada, which is basically Las Vegas, kind of like Denver is like Las Vegas, but then there's suburbs, outside of Las Vegas. But I'm based out of Henderson. But like I said, I'll go anywhere.
What's the biggest job you've ever done in Las Vegas?
Man, I've done a lot of big jobs. I'd probably say the Wynn.
Wow.
The Wynn Casino. Yeah, I'm contracted by Wynn Design and Development. And then in Colorado, the biggest job I ever did was the Air Force academies, the schools. There was a lot of shootings and things in the schools probably about 4 years ago. So they wanted to get the glass secured and stuff. So I went out there and did the high school, the middle school, and the elementary school.
That's awesome.
Wow. Was that Laurie Air Force Base, around Laurie Air Force Base, or somewhere there?
It was in the Colorado Springs.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So let me ask you something. So, not to jump off subject, but you worked last night, right?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Yep.
You want to tell us a little bit about that card and those fights?
It's pretty quick. There's a lot of first round knockouts and submissions and stops. The fighters were the main card, and man, they're just tough. I love watching the women fight. Man, they give it their all. They're not sparring. They're not taking it easy. They're just all out war. So I really like the women fighters.
I agree.
See that,
more people say that all the time. Women at the BKFC fights got the fight of the night last night. It was great.
When it comes to MMA, women, first of all, their skill level is on par with the men. You know what I mean? They're women, of course, but their skill level is right there. It's the same. But those girls, they never feel each other out, man. It's like the Roosters. You drop them two in there, and then bam, they're going at it. I love women's MMA myself.
I like that.
Yeah, I think they tend to be a lot more technical too. Women take their time and they're very meticulous. They're very fluid. They're methodical, and it's just fun to watch. It's like
they're mean. Girls are mean.
Oh,
like they'll fight, and like men will fight each other if they have a grudge and they hate each other and they have a war after the the fight. They'll shake hands and be like, "All right, it's cool." Women will keep that grudge going even after a war. They don't care. They hate each other.
They're begging for a rematch, right? They're like,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's. Speaking of a grudge match, real quick, we'll jump over from MMA to boxing. We had Caleb last night and Anthony Durrell. Now there was some controversy there, and then we also had Deontay Wilder. There was no controversy there. That was a one-hitter quitter, check cross and done. Then we had a major, I thought was a major upset with Michaela Mayer and Jessica McCaskill. And me and Brittany were going back and forth. I says, all right, controversy. Now that one there, I appreciated the boxing that Michaela Mayer came out with. Obviously, you like the defense and then the attack that Jessica, or what was her name, Jessica McCaskill threw down on. So it was a matter of how do you say, what type of fighter do you like better or what have you? I thought Michaela Mayer set the pace. I thought she controlled the ring with that jab. I thought she outpointed McCaskill, but you felt otherwise. Give us your take on it, Brittany.
I did. I felt otherwise. I thought, that it takes more than a jab to win a fight. There was a lot more movement and a lot more head movement. I gave it. I did not have Mayer winning that. And I like it is what it is, and
Yeah.
But it boils down to what kind of fighter do you like better. And when you go down to a decision like that, I couldn't give it to Mayer. I just couldn't. I didn't think she
What?
did enough.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your opinion as always. We all are. We're all professionals in the field. Kenny, did you happen to see any of those fights?
I did not. On my breaks, I go into the cut room, and they were watching boxing and stuff like that, because the cut guys are huge boxing fanatics, like
Right.
off the top,
A lot
right?
of them come from boxing.
Yeah, yes, correct. And so in between, like when I have a break, I'd go in there and just kind of see a little bit of it and whatnot. But
Sure.
boxing and MMA, I definitely think that the jab is underutilized in MMA.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Couldn't
box
agree more.
clutch. Yeah,
we
boxing's clutch.
Yeah, we teach a lot of MMA fighters their stand up, their hands in our gym. They come to us and they want to get hands, and boy, I tell you what, we tighten them up like you wouldn't believe. That defense gets a lot tighter. They get a lot more jabs out of that. They learn how to check the right way.
Yeah, and counter and strike
Mhm.
properly without, if
It's
there's a
different though.
advantage. Yeah, man. I mean, boxing is super, super important. And when I was coming up in, training MMA, I used to train with Cowboy John, Mike Tyson's boxing coach, and Kevin Kelly.
Oh
So
wow,
Wow.
oh that
yeah,
was cool. Yeah, let me do a real quick shout out here. Whoa, we got Erica Garcia. I wonder who she belongs to. Thanks for joining the show, Erica. Jeremiah Duran, welcome to the show. We've got Alvis Batista, is out of Murrieta, California. Welcome to the show, Alvis. Thanks for joining us. Pablo and Yaneth Padilla, thank you for joining us and watching us. Adrian Romero, now there's a fight family right there. Adrian Romero, Monk Romero was his dad, the legendary Monk Romero out of Denver, Colorado. Used to train. He was the main coach out of Rudy Rockers. And man, I'll tell you what, that family goes way back. And God rest in peace, Monk. Joey as well, family of fighters. Thank you for joining us, Adrian, and so on and so forth. But let's go back and let's talk about um, the fight last night and the build up to the fight of the um, Anthony Durrell, Caleb Plant fight. Um, Now, did any of you guys fight prior to the fight? Were you guys watching any of the hoopla and all the fanatics? Anybody see?
I No, I didn't see anything, but I'm not a fan of Darrell, so it was nice to see him get starched.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you what. There's respect and there's disrespect, and there was a lot of disrespect thrown at Caleb Plant in this fight, and Caleb Plant came out. He did what he had to do, put him down, knocked him out, and then he was basically burying him, doing the shovel, and the ref tried to stop him, and there was a lot of
Ortiz
chat.
style, right, Kenny?
What's that?
Is that a Tito Ortiz style with the shovel?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a Tito move. Yeah.
But so that being said, um, you know,
There it is right there.
there it is right there.
In MMA, the ref moves out of the way so that he could do the whole move, the dragging him into the hole and everything, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
In
Well,
boxing,
that
they
right
don't
there-
even let you do that.
right there caused a lot of controversy, and that controversy right there. I was following the fight all the way up into the fight, followed it right after the fight. Caleb Plant was trying to bury the hatchet, but Durrell came up and he said a lot of stuff. To me, when you attack, you can attack somebody's character, you can call them down on, and you can Eminem them all day long, just like Eminem used to do in his rapping song when he did the 8 Mile. But when you turn around and start throwing them race cards out there, that is old. We're tired of it. We don't care for the race cards anymore. We're over it. No white boy could ever beat me. Caleb Plant says race doesn't have nothing to do with it. It's a boxer. So I believe that everybody that's in that game is they're boxers. There's no color when it comes to this. And I think Durrell
Didn't
spoke a
Michaela
little bit.
do a little race car, little move too at the weigh-in? That was kind of ridiculous.
Who did?
Michaela Mayer. I guess this other
Gee,
girl
I didn't
called
see
her
that one.
I didn't see
like
that
a
either.
horse face something, and then this girl said, "Why are you being racist?"
Oh,
Like,
shit.
who said anything about race? Like, you know what I mean? And she offended her,
That
but she had nothing.
yeah,
It had
yeah.
nothing to do with race. You know what I mean? Like, but it
You
was
got to
kind of
define
funny.
it.
Like,
You
brought up
got
the
to
race
define
car.
it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
You gotta leave race, you gotta leave the women, you gotta leave the children, you gotta leave the families out of it. You know what I mean? Like at that point, you're just getting unprofessional and disrespectful. And this is a gentleman's sport. Doesn't matter which version of combat sports you're in, whether it be boxing, MMA, bare knuckle, Muay Thai. It doesn't matter. It's a gentleman's sport. And at the end of the day, whether you build the fight and you're ugly ahead of time, you're at the end of the day after the fight, you shake each other's hand and you're respectful after. You're a trained athlete. Leave
You're a professional.
race, religion, women, and children out. Period.
agreed.
You're a
Agreed. Let's stick to the script.
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
the greatest smack talker out there in the world was one man, and this guy never even cussed, but he got under your skin like you would not believe. And that was the late great Muhammad Ali. If you ever go back and look at him talking smack, man, he never said not one cuss word, not even the shit word. But this guy called you a gorilla, a Magilla gorilla. He called you ugly. There you go, the greatest of all times. You know. So I think everybody should try to go back and take a couple pages out of Muhammad Ali's book and see how you could come out without you know like you said, Brittany, bringing all that into the thing, because that's
Right.
it's uncalled for.
It
And
is.
did Caleb Platt need to do that at the end? No, but you know what? Doral made it personal, and when it gets personal, those emotions come out, and emotions are weakness, and we all have them. So I seen them both become weak during this whole thing. Um,
Yep.
I don't know, I to me, a lot of guys go out there and they're doing this, or they're the chop, or they're doing something, or they're doing it, whatever. You know, he knocked him out. You're out. I
The way
don't
I
see.
see it, if you get mad because they're celebrating, then don't get knocked out, and they won't celebrate. That's simple.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like, don't get knocked out, and he won't celebrate. Period.
I agree. You see a lot of that in the UFC, don't you, Kenny?
I see a lot. Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at that point, it's not even a celebration because people really do die in combat sports. So it's line crossing. I still feel like, doing the whole shovel thing, a celebration would be, yeah, fuck you, you know what I mean? Excuse my language, boss man, but you know what I mean? Like even getting ugly in his face, that would be a little bit more respectful than digging him 6 feet under. Like, come on, man, that's
I,
You never
that's
saw?
too much.
Did you ever see Tito Ortiz do it, Brittany?
Well, listen, I'm not saying it's right or wrong for
No, no.
one over the
I'm
other,
just
but it's
curious
like,
because Tito Ortiz, not only did he dig the hole, but if you remember, Kenny, he would drag the body into the hole.
yes,
He would be on his knees,
Yeah.
he would drag the body. It was pretty
yes.
awesome. It was pretty awesome.
yeah, but usually
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like they're really concerned. There was a nasty knockout last night, and the guy was like emotional. You can tell he was just like worried about that fighter because he did that. You know what I mean? So there's a general concern about the and the well-being of fighters, because you're not in there to kill somebody. You're in there to win a fight, and that's what you get paid for. You don't want to ever see like go to the hospital or intentionally send them to the hospital. So, after the fights, I don't know if they cut into commercials or whatnot, but man, the doctors are in there. We allow a coach over there to talk to them, make sure that the fighters are okay. I mean, there's so many safety protocols and respect between fighters, even if there's a grudge before, even if they're talking smack, up the fights or whatever. At the end of the day, we're all professionals, and we have to act accordingly, and we have to, pretty much live out after each other.
Hey,
I
Kenny.
don't want an opponent's arm. He's going to be out of. He's not going to be able to make money down the road. So give them the opportunity to tap. Don't break their elbow. And,
Don't be like Frank Mir.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's what his mentality was, just break it until they if they don't tap. That's
he knows Frank Mir.
Yeah.
Well, everything's involved.
I've trained with Frank over at Drysdale's and those guys and some of the Brazilians and Paxao, and I mean there's no 50% sparring. I mean it's 100%. They're combat. They're training to win. They're world class fighters, and so if you're going in there to get a spar, you really have to pick and choose your sparring partners because some don't go 50%, some go 100%. That's all they know. That's their. So you really have to know and trust your sparring partner. It's super important. You can overtrain, you can get hurt, and now you don't get a paycheck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be smart and pick your training partners really well, carefully.
And I think that the commissions are doing well with all the sports now. I think the commissions have cleaned up a lot of that to allow whether it's MMA or boxing or whatever else in the world is they're helping them evolve into much safer and better sports so that we can live to fight another day. I know the California Commission, I work with them quite a bit lately, and I'll tell you what, with the California Commission, because their number one thing is safety 100% all the way. Sometimes a ref may even have a bad call, and we had Ray Popeye Corona on last week, and he was explaining that you don't see it from the stands or you don't see it from TV, but you don't hear all the moans and the cries and the yelping coming from the fighters when they get hit. But they do inside that ring. So when they go to stop a fight, most of the time it's probably, you may not see it, but there's a real reason why that fight is being stopped. And so I can appreciate that because, it doesn't take much for, a boxer to get that brain damage. And, especially later on in life, to be punch drunk and have to walk around and deal with that and try to live in your life normally, after the fact, if you're done it. But I will always say this too, whether it's combat sports, whether it's boxing, or whether it's any type of sport like this, I believe that these sports here save more lives than they'll ever take, because you're taking a lot of people and taking their energy into doing addictive energy into doing something productive with their life some way, somehow with these sports other than doing. So I'm still a big fan and an advocate of all combat sports, and I believe that as long as it's regulated the right way and, we continue to mature in the game, I think we're going to be fine. I mean, there's always there's always some, it's always going to be dangerous regardless, but we do the best.
Hey, Kenny, I got reminded of that time that I don't know if you were there or not, but I'm sure you watched it. This was way back, and it was one of those tough finales when War Machine was fighting his best friend on the show, right? And the guy was fighting. He was on top of him, giving him some heavy ground and pound. And I think at some point, he looked at the ref, are you going to stop it? And he had to continue. So he continued until the ref stopped it eventually. I remember the interview after the fight. He was bawling because he had to beat up his friend. He couldn't, you remember that? That was pretty awesome. And that's how much respect these guys have, that they don't really want to hurt each other. It's just part of the game. You know what I mean? But if at the end of the day, they respect each other, and it really hurts them to see each other get seriously injured.
Absolutely. Yeah. We, it's a job. It's a business. As a fighter, when you sign a contract, I mean, that's your job. And whoever's your opponent across from you, you have to do your job, right? And the last thing you want to do is, take out one of your training partners or just demolish. You know what I mean? That's the very last thing on the mark.
You remember that,
mind.
right?
I remember it. Yeah, I remember. War Machine was at my my pro debut in Tijuana, and I was cutting weight over there eating those street tacos that were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were.
The
I,
best.
That
I
guy
won't
was like
that way.
balling.
Yeah, but you know, the Nevada Athletic Commission, they're really, really good. They have meetings prior to the fight. They have a meeting after the fights, and you know, you got to figure out that the referees are there to protect the fighters. That's their job. They're not worried about the money line. They're not worried about, you know, the booze in the audience, or, you know, the negative chit chat outside the rings, right? Their job is to protect the fighters and to make it a clean fight, so it's competitive and professional. So
They're not even worried about the time. Ask Richard Steele.
yeah,
I don't know if you guys know, but he stopped the Chavez fight with 2 seconds left. The Chavez was about to lose. That's why he wasn't worried about the time. He was saving the fighter.
yeah. So, you know, it's like, you know, they get a lot of slack. I'm really with a lot of the referees and stuff like that. We hang out and like we're all family. Like everybody in the UFC, we're all family. Different departments, we hang out. We're family, we're a big family, and that environment is awesome, man. It's not even like a job, you know.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
at
That's
the end of
awesome.
the day, they don't take it personal, Brittany, when they do the digging. It is what it is.
It is what it is, absolutely. You know, and don't get me wrong, like that fight build up, that hype, that shit talk, and that banter, it builds the fight, it sells the fight. So I get it, but you gotta. It's a really fine line, and that line is different for everybody. But
It
you
is.
know, it is what it is.
Let me do a real
Yeah.
quick shout out here, everybody. We've got Jeremiah Duran. Welcome to the show, Jeremiah. Angel Perez Lugo. He's a boxer. My son trains him in the gym. Welcome to the show, Angel. Marlon K. We got Paco Perez. He says, hello, familia. How you doing, Paco? Hi, Cindy. Blessings always to you. And then this one here, my brothers. That's got to be the one and only, I probably Paul Banky right there. And then here, I don't know who this is, but girls are putting in their work just as the guys are. We agree with you. So real quick, I was hoping that Omar, you could do us a favor and you could put up Deontay Wilder, the little thing we have of his up there, if you have it.
Yeah. Just give me a sec, real quick.
So because talk about feeling after the fight, somebody really feeling bad and feeling for the opponent. Deontay Wilder showed a lot of class last night, a lot of emotion, and about a lot of class last night. Before he wanted to put a body on his record, now he's hoping
People always go about
to live to fight another day.
and all this he lost, or he's a bum and all that. Well, you get your bum ass in there then. Yeah, it's a great knockout. It's devastating, making history and stuff like that. But how much that man gonna suffer? And we seeing what happened. Look at Cologne. That's Pritchard Cologne.
Yep.
Correct. This man ain't have no kids.
I'm not the smartest guy, but I feel at least like listening to this man talk.
They don't understand, man. Y'all don't fucking understand what we go through, man. And I don't even know him like that. But I always be an advocate for us because this man would never know what it feel like to be somebody's father. And that's some of the precious thing in the world, to be somebody's father. But he'll never be nobody's father, man. This man will never have a natural childhood ability of living again because he got in the ring to support his family. But now his
Is this the
family
guy
got
that
to
talks
take care of
about
him
putting
for the
bodies
rest of
on his
his life.
record?
We don't know, is Robert going to be the
Is that the guy that talks about putting bodies on his record? He's a nasty.
Remember, like I told you before, that's what he was saying.
He's a
But
nasty.
now when he knocked this guy out last night, he was pretty concerned about his well-being. The guy was he was pretty much I mean, the guy's eyes were wide open, just like Deontay Wilder has come across now with a lot of emotions ever since he got beat 2 times or 3 times by the great Gypsy King Fury. To come out with those type of emotions or what have you. It's not how do you say it's rare that we see these guys do that, but we're in the boxing business.
Do you think that was real? You think those emotions were real?
Do I think they were real?
That's
That
an
cry
act,
looked kind of
bro.
fake, huh? That cry looked a little fake. I'm not gonna
Come
lie,
on.
but
Well, let me
Those are
tell you something.
crocodile tears. Those are crocodile tears.
Let
all
me
day.
let me tell you something though. I'm going to tell you this. All right, he's already played one part of the spectrum. Now he's leaning over the other part of the spectrum.
He's
Okay,
grasping.
because guess
He's
what?
grasping. He's grasping.
The world as today is sensitivity now in this world is where it's at. Unfortunately, now we all old schoolers don't care much for that sensitivity. We want to get down to business, get down and move on.
No, I mean,
Right? But the way
I
the
don't think
world
it's.
is nowadays.
I don't think it's necessarily the fact the point he's making. I think the fact that he's playing the part as if he's really making that point. You know what I mean? Like he's acting. To me, that's an act. He's playing it for the cameras. That's what I think. You know what I mean? I mean, Mayweather made a career out of it. You meet Mayweather. I used to hate Mayweather on TV. You meet him in person, he's the greatest guy. You know what I mean? It's like two different people. And I think that Deontay is just doing it for the cameras.
I've done work for Floyd, and he's a huge tipper. He takes care of you. Like he goes to the front, back into the chat, tips him, takes care of him. Like
they're playing for the cameras. I think that was a play for the camera. I think, but
well, it's good to see your perspective. I'm happy to see that perspective, but I wanted to show the emotions that were out there. That now that they're playing, whether they're playing or not, it's like Paco says here. Paco Perez, thank you for saying this, Paco. You still have to be respectful to your opponent, the fans, and the sport. So whether he's respectful to the other opponent or showing other fighters they can still be respectful. But I get you. We all see it differently. We all have our own.
Wasn't respectful to Tyson Fury when he lost.
Yeah,
well, he wins.
No, that's true. When it's
kind of backwards in the world, huh? Yeah,
it's kind of backwards.
Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, move on. Like, you're better off not saying nothing, just moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a question for Kenny. Were you there when Masvidal knocked out Ben Askren?
I was in the stands, I believe.
Oh, so you were just watching that fight? You went at it, or you were working that fight?
Yeah, I was ringside. I believe I was on my break. Like I said, we work so many fights, man.
Yeah.
Like so many fights.
There is one fight I want to ask you about, Kenny, and I'm going to ask you about it because I met this gentleman. He's in the UFC now. I was actually trying to bring him to boxing. A manager, a real good friend of mine, he actually put Black House. I'm with Black House boxing, and they asked me about should we take him to boxing or should we sign with the UFC? And it's Alex Pereira. Alex Poatan Pereira, who was, for many people that don't know, the boxing fans, he is like the #1 kickboxer in the world, light heavyweight, about 175, 200 pounds in that range. And this guy was knocking everybody out. You're familiar with him, right, Kenny?
Yeah, I know.
So he's knocking everybody out. When he knocked out the current UFC light heavyweight champion, I think it is, light heavyweight. Is that Ensaya, the light heavyweight champion?
He dropped Sean Strickland, I believe.
Yeah, but he's gonna fight at Ensaya next, right?
Yeah, he's gonna fight Adesanya. Yeah, and he dropped him already in the
kickboxing. A light heavyweight title or a middleweight?
They're light heavyweight.
Okay, so he's gonna fight at Ensaya, and this guy's knocking everybody out. He's knocked out everybody in the UFC that he's faced, and he will be fighting at Ensaya, whom he knocked out in kickboxing. But Ensaya was like the next Anderson Silva. Now they're going to face each other. Hopefully one day I can still bring him to boxing. But what do you think about this fight here?
That's for sure.
What was that? I'm sorry?
It's going to be a banger, that's for sure.
Absolutely, somebody's going down. Adensaya, I mean, he did beat him in the in kickboxing. I mean, or Pereira beat Adensaya in kickboxing, but this is not kickboxing.
Yeah, there's a lot more tools to the toolbox. Yeah, for sure. So I
Can I get,
can't really.
can I get your pick on that?
I can't voice an opinion, man. I can't because
Oh, I see. Okay, that's fair enough. That's
yeah,
fair enough. I
yeah.
was curious, but whenever you guys get a chance, anybody out there, boxing people, watch this fight. It's Alex Pereira Powhatan. You can look him up. Joe Rogan talks great about him. Look up Joe Rogan talking about Alex Pereira. Hopefully, one day I can convince his manager to give boxing his chance because this guy will knock people out. He puts people out cold.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, listen, real quick, I got a couple
Yeah.
more shout outs here. My biggest fans, she believes in me a lot. That's my mother, Ernestine Trujillo. Thanks, Mom, for joining the show and watching us. We got Cindy Alacrana Amador, who just popped up. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Hello, Cindy. Thanks for joining us. We're at the end here. Um, Next week, what we're going to do is we're going to bring on Bobby Wambacher. He is a referee for the MMA. He just came back, or he should be flying back now from London, or today they have the fights in London, actually. And I want to invite Kenny back next Sunday, if you're available, Kenny, to help us, interview Bobby Wambacher if you're able to. We would love to have you back,
Yeah,
Kenny.
Bobby's awesome, man. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Right on. I think that's going to be an awesome deal. And Kenny, I want to tell you, you're our very first combat, besides Brittany and Caesar loving, MMA. You're the first one to come on the show and break the ice for us, brother. And
Awesome,
I
man.
and I'm happy and I'm proud and I'm grateful that it's you, bro. So next week we'll bring on Bobby Wambacher, and we're going to get more and more into the MMA and the combat sports as we continue our journey into this, in the interviewing and what have you.
Yeah, and if you guys are ever in Vegas, hit me up, man. I'd love to meet you guys and
For tickets?
show you around.
For tickets?
I know where he.
This is her task.
Hey,
I,
you never know.
here's what Kenny and I are going to do. We're going to be, because I'm a coach, and I'm also looking out for all the, all the different gyms and stuff like that. Kenny knows all the gyms, man. So that's, to me, that's where all the action is.
Hey, I got one last thing. Kenny,
Yes,
do me a really big favor.
yes.
Real big. Like the biggest favor probably anybody's ever asked you.
All
Tell
right.
tell Bruce Buffer I'm coming for his job.
I love Bruce, man. He's a buddy of mine. So yeah, Bruce.
Let him know I'm coming. I'm coming for that job.
Is Bruce like the other boxing, like the boxing announcers? I don't care who it is. You see them away from boxing, they're always like upright and like perfect guys. You know what I mean? Like the boxing announcers, they never lose the act. They're like that even at home. Is Bruce like that?
No, man. Bruce is cool as a fan, man. That guy, he's funny. Always hustling. Just awesome. He always fist bumps you when he's walking in the cage and asking, hey, how you doing tonight, man? Everything good? All right, man. You look sharp, Bruce. I always tell him, you look sharp. You look dapper, bro, and stuff. So it's cool. Like I said, it's one big family, and we're there. We all love our job, and we all, just do our part. Everybody has a part, and we just do it, and we're like a one big family. So pretty cool.
You're looking at the Bruce Bufferet.
Yeah, listen.
Right there.
He's aging out here real quick. I'm just saying, I'm coming for that job. I got a loud voice. I got a long throw. I got a lot of energy. So Bruce, I'm coming for that job. I'm filling them shoes. Put that out there right now.
Closet.
Bringing it. Well, what a
You
great
gotta
show.
hit us with the "It's time."
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah,
I'll
Nah,
go
do
out
because
you have
that's
a-
like
do you have a line?
copyrighted, so he
Do
could
you have-
sue me if I do
Do
that.
you
yeah?
have a line, baby? Do you have a line? What's your line? Let me see. Give us a little preview of your line.
If you want all the previews, you can go hit up my ring announcer page. Britt B Lit ring announcer. I'll go ahead and tag it in the comments later. You
That
can
was a
hit
perfect
that
plug,
up.
huh?
Yeah.
Great. Well, listen, I gotta say, give a shout out to my niece Lita. She joined us. Thank you, Lita, for watching. Also, Sean Fitzgerald, thanks for joining us. Listen, y'all, we're all gonna head out of here. We all have a good week. We had a tremendous amount of combat sports and boxing this past weekend. But what we like to do is bring everybody the inside angle. That's why we're not sitting here trying to Monday morning. I mean, we do the Monday morning quarterbacking and the backseat driving every once in a while, but for the most part, we like to bring everybody's attention to what's happening in the world of combat sports and boxing as it is today from the inside, whether it's in the octagon or inside the square circle. So as for that, we'll say what we say again. Boxing saves more lives than it will ever take. That's the take we have to do. That comes from Denver, Colorado. House
And
of Pain,
MMA.
baby. And MMA. Absolutely. So Kenny, again, thank you, sir. We look forward to having you on board next week when we interview Bobby. And let's keep this thing rolling.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks. So appreciate it.
All right. So we're going to go ahead, everybody. You
Thank
guys
you.
all be blessed. Thank you, my peeps.
All
Good
right.
night.